Producer Susie is busy working on the show. How are we doing so far, Producer Susie? Give us I'd like a mark out of 10, please.
Probably a 20 out of 10.
Okay, there's a slight hesitation there just at the beginning, which made me slightly uncomfortable.
Come on.
What is our drink of the day, please? What should we be working with?
Well, I think a nice rosé would be perfect for this weather.
Very good. Again, let's not mess around with a 125. We'll go straight for the 250, shall we?
Yeah, two of them.
Straight for the 250.
250 bill, because as you were saying just now, you don't stick at 125. You always go for the 250 anyway, eventually. Here's today's confession. It comes from Casey. Casey, thank you very much indeed for sending in today's tale. Casey gets the smart speaker for this. Simon and the crew of Justice and Common Sense. The incident for which I crave forgiveness happened more than 20 years ago, but hearing today's confession about the hot neighbour, you know, the postman who was from down the road, jogged my memory as it was all but forgotten and buried in the mists of time. When it happened, I was good friends with a Canadian lady whose husband had long wished to own a dog. And not just any dog, a Malamute. Now, to the uninitiated, these are big, glorious creatures, very much at home in the wilds of Canada. It's called an Alaskan Malamute. They're like a sledge dog. That's basically what it is. Okay. All fine and lovely, except she lived in Croydon. Suffice to say, the dog, whilst gorgeous and fluffy and friendly, was also large and strong and adventurous and looked like we would call a husky. Not ideal to suited if you're living in Croydon. Other southeastern suburban locations this is applicable to. My friends want, and I looked one up, Marlon, they look beautiful, but you can imagine if you're in the middle of Croydon / anywhere else in the middle of town, not ideal. Casey says, my friends wanted to go away for a few days and knowing that I was a dog lover, asked if I might consider hosting the pooch to enable them to take their trip. We agreed a trial visit was a good idea to see if the dog and I and my house were suited. The dog, let's call him Beast. He wasn't a beast, he was a big bundle of fluff, but the name is useful for what follows. Came round, sniffed things in the garden, promptly blotted his copybook by peeing on a corner cabinet. Things were not looking good. Beast then noticed the door to the garden was open and trotted outside, leaving me to clear up the puddle and my shamefaced friend to apologise for her dog's rudeness. We got talking and it was a good 15 to 20 minutes before we noticed that Beast had reappeared. His paws were unaccountably wet and muddy, and he looked a little bedraggled, but we assumed he'd been digging in the flower beds, and both agreed that sadly he'd be a less than ideal house guest, so they would have to look somewhere else and someone else to host him when they went away. We thought nothing more about this, and the friend returned the next day for coffee without Beast this time to apologise again. While we were chatting and laughing about what had happened, the doorbell went. I answered it to a lady who I'd never seen before. She explained that she was renting the house, whose garden backed onto mine, and she was sorry to bother me, but she had a bizarre question. And this is where it takes an unexpected turn.
Okay.
Had I seen a wolf recently in my garden, maybe? Now, this is not a common occurrence in Croydon, she admitted, but she had looked out of her bedroom window the previous day to see what she thought was a wolf. In fact, she was sure it was a wolf, standing in her fish pond. The creature trashed the water lilies, as wolves do, tried to catch a frog, also well known to be the target of wolves, and then disappeared through a hole in the fence. Had I seen anything? Well, needless to say, I feigned shock, assured her that I had seen nothing untoward, and commiserated with her regarding the ravaged lilies and terrified wildlife. I'd report that, I said. You can't have wolves roaming around. We haven't had a wolf attack around these parts since the 1950s. I was warming to my theme. Maybe it was a coyote or a lynx. Or maybe a jackal. We have some of them.
Really?
Either way, the authorities should know. Really, she says. Definitely, I said. The RSPCA or the council, maybe. Or the AA, I added, for reasons that I can't quite remember. But they should deal with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, not particularly soothed at all, she grudgingly left, glancing nervously all around in case of a wolf attack. Wolf attack. Wolf attack.
Of a wolf attack.
Oh, there you go. No, I was waiting for the orchestra to climax at that point. She dived into the car, locked all the doors manually, then screeched away down the road. Now, obviously, I need to crave forgiveness from the lady over the fence, who was since obviously not there because she was just renting it. And she still believes she saw a wolf in a garden in Croydon, but also from the good people of the local council, the RSPCA and the AA. Again, I'm not quite sure why I wrote them in, who might have had a slightly surprising call from a concerned citizen fearful of a wolf attack. What do I do if I see a wolf? She'd have said. Dear Drive Time crew and listeners, I throw myself at your mercy. That's what I was waiting for.
There it is, yeah.
A smart speaker would soothe my soul. I'm sure it would, I'm sure. All religions say if you get a smart speaker, your soul is fine.
Oh, right.
Anyway, Casey needs forgiveness. I'm not sure what Sister Susie's going to make of this. What do you think, Sister Susie?
Well, Casey, I've always got a soft spot for a confession that involves a dog, it's just, it wasn't his fault. He just went exploring. Well, it wasn't your fault. It might have been his fault. But my old dog that I had used to have a nemesis that looked like a husky, and he absolutely hated them. So I feel like you can't control them, and I think you're forgiven. The woman was only renting and didn't really cause that much damage, so I think I'm going to forgive you.
Very good. Okay, so it's looking positive so far. Brother Matthew.
I'm going to forgive, and I've got a theory. I think that this neighbour who had knocked on the door and said,
Yes.
"Oh, have you seen a wolf?" I think she knew that this dog belonged to that other house, and she was just doing it as a sort of, "Oh, have you seen a wolf?" and then hoping that the neighbour would then turn around and say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, that's our dog." She didn't have the nerve to say that's your dog. She just came up with this whole scenario about the wolf, and who can blame the dog for wanting to eat a frog when it's hungry like a wolf? Duran Duran.
Oh, is this going to be a regular
Boom.
occurrence?
In it comes once again.
Okay.
Forgiven.
All right, double...